Why, steak. Hello, good morning. My name is John Stiffarm, and I'm going to be going over some sign language. So, just as an introduction, this is Indian Sign Language, or I don't know what the proper term is with whether using Indian or Indigenous or First Nations. This is our tribal sign language. And just to kind of give you an idea about sign language, um, not really uh, focus, on a specific tribe. Oh, this is Blackfeet Sign Language, Cree Sign Language, Ojibwe Sign Language, because kind of the history of the sign language, as it was explained to me, was that sign language was used amongst Indian tribes a long time ago and in today's time as well to communicate. Back in that time, if they didn't know each other's tribal language, they could still communicate through sign language. And so I'm going to, I'm still trying to figure this out here. I know there is some technical difficulties, but I think they've been sorted out. Maybe somebody could give me a thumbs up if all the technical difficulties have been sorted out. Is that the little thumbs up that goes flying across the screen? Okay, it's all good to go. Okay, all right. So again, my name is John Stiffarm. I'm going to be going over some just basic signs for Indian Sign Language. Now, for myself, I'm still learning sign language. The way that I utilize the sign language is in teaching. I currently teach seventh grade, grade 7 through grade 12 at the Harlem schools. And so I'm kind of coupling this with a lot of different tasks that we're trying to accomplish because of this recent times that we're in as a society. A lot of the learning is trying to go to online and in the use of technology, and so I know that's the case, at our school as well. And so I'm gonna just quick note to students in my classes. You can go to the school Google email account and provide responses to questions that I'll have towards the end of the video. Um, so in getting back to sign language, again, we try not to get hung up on the things of like, oh, is this Cree Sign Language, or is this Blackfeet Sign Language, is this Ahane Sign Language, whatever it may be, because um, it was universal. It was universal amongst all the tribes. Now there may be specific signs that were utilized within tribes, um, and there might be stories behind that. And that's the fun in learning. That as you learn these signs within your own tribal language and cultural context, it'll open up a whole lesson about history and sometimes about family history, clan history. And so that's something, again, in being in this video here, that we're wanting to create that spark to learn, to begin learning with sign language, and to even help you remember signs that you might have seen growing up or used amongst friends, or you might have seen around the community. And then maybe it'll start to make a little bit of sense and create that spark for you to learn more of the sign language. Some good references on the online are one that I always have a deep respect for is Dr. Lanny Reelbird, and he's worked tirelessly with the preservation of Indian Sign Language, American Indian Sign Language, First Nations Sign Language, and there's a lot of videos posted on YouTube of his work. There's also a video that you'll see on YouTube, and it was of a meeting they had in the 1930s, I think it was, and it brought together some Indians to record some sign language. And I believe that's the one that was recorded in Browning over in the Blackfeet Reservation here in Montana. And so those are really good to look at, to be able to increase your vocabulary, so to speak, within uh, American Indian Sign Language, First Nation Sign Language, Indigenous Sign Language. I'm still trying to locate the appropriate word, and I think because we're on this page, think Indigenous, I think we'll just use Indigenous, so we'll say Indigenous Sign Language. And so that's kind of like a brief history, and I wanted to give note, and acknowledge those ones that are working in the preservation of this sign language, of Indigenous Sign Language. So in my classroom, like I mentioned, we utilize sign language. It's a way to help and assist in learning our tribal languages. So we always acknowledge as teachers that people learn in different ways. And so what we try to do is try to cover all those bases so that everybody has that chance and opportunity to learn. I still do quite a bit that I learn through speaking, listening, seeing, doing. But I also acknowledge, that a lot of people will learn that they have to write it down, and that's good. If you want to take notes and write these down, that'll help you in learning. Sometimes they need to write it down and then see it written, maybe on a board, on a screen, and then some people even have to rewrite it at a later time. That's good. That's the way, different ways people learn. But specifically in speaking with sign language, I've noticed that a lot of people it helps them in learning is if they're doing something with their hands. I don't know if that's the proper term, is tactile. I know that's a term. I've heard it somewhere. And then also with audio, hearing. And so being able to couple those two ways in learning language is really helpful, and it assists and help. It's just yet another way that we can teach and learn our languages. And what we do is we go over animals, we'll go over things in nature, just to build the vocabulary. And once that vocabulary foundation has been set, with them having a base knowledge of signs, then we'll continue on, of course, learning more and being able to put things into a sentence through the use of sign language, as well as through the use of our indigenous language. So as we're learning signs early on, one of the things that we do at the end of a unit, maybe the unit being animals, is we'll play a game. And the game is bingo. Be with the animals and the animals that we learned. And then bingo is always fun, and it's always fun to utilize games in the classroom with our youth. And so I'll just give a picture here. I know there's a fancy way to transfer this onto the screen, but this is a picture of one of the cards that we made in the school, and those are the animals that we'll be going over today. And we made that just using Microsoft Excel, and it allows you to make a table, and within those tables you adjust the sizes, and then just copying, pasting pictures and putting them in those different sections. And so that's a project you could do at home. You could do at home with your own children, is making these bingo cards and then being able to play a game. Also, another game that we utilize in Indigenous Sign Language as we get further along and in learning different verbs and increasing our vocabulary within Indigenous Sign Language is we play charades. That's what Nehant do. White people call it. You know, it's just that game where you use no words and it's just the signs and the motions with your body. Uh, and somebody has to try to figure out what you're saying. No words being used, and it's just the sign language that's been acquired and learned. And that's also a really fun game that you can play as well. So I know we don't have much time. I know it's 30 minutes. Chris Scribe told me 30 minutes and not a minute over. So I want to try to stick to that timetable. Again, I'm just going over these animals that were on that bingo card that I showed you, and I'll show you it again. You know, again, in case you want to, well, if you want to utilize this one, or if you want to take it and make your own. Like I said, I use Microsoft Excel and just make a table and then copy and paste those pictures into those different boxes like that. So now you kind of have an idea of the different animals and signs that we're going to be going over. So, excuse me. So with the signs here on the card here, we'll just start randomly with some of them, and I'm going to show you these signs. And as you see these signs, you're going to realize that sign language is real literal. And some of them, and I'm going to share a sign with you later on, there's a story behind it, and that's pertaining to like our tribal history. But most of the signs are pretty universal. It can be utilized in teaching your own tribal languages. And so, thank you. All right. So, we'll start with this one here. I'll try to position myself here. You can see it. Okay, in our language we say sisiya, and it's even just by listening to it, you could hear the sound, and it kind of sounds like the animal sisiya, and this is the sign. Okay. Sisiya. Nahane da sinhin sisiya. What is that? I'm getting my assistant here to help me. Cecilia. Cecilia.
That's me.
That's right. So that's the first one, Cecilia. Next one, you can see how literal they are. My assistant here is going to be helping, and she'll guess what this is. This is my daughter Nahani says. Nehant.
Spider.
Nehant. Spider. Okay. You can't look at the card. Okay, next one. Baano. Baano.
Turtle.
Baano. Nakatiehi.
Eagle.
Yata. 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 There's something about his eyes. Yeah.
Oh, an eagle. Or, I mean, owl.
That's the big eyes, right?
Mhm.
Okay. This one's kind of tough for people sometimes. This one's up.
A dog.
Oh, okay. And that one must be a real old sign because we kind of like those, those little travelers that they used to put on dogs that they would pack all their things on to help them as they move camp up. Oh, let's see, here we go. Iwasaw. Iwasaw.
Elk.
Iwasaw.
Deer.
Iwasaw.
Horse.
And this is also, as you can see, it's a fun part also of learning. They're guessing and kind of looking and hearing as we have to repeat. Maybe sometimes we might have to repeat the word 4 or 5 times and the sign 4 or 5 times, and that just reinforces their learning and hearing it and seeing it.
Moose. No, deer. Elk.
Deer. Iwasu.
Elk.
Nenhi.
Moose.
Now this one's always a tough one for people to figure out. No sick. No sick. No sick.
Antelope.
I know this. Many tribes got different signs for this animal as well. That we use Gyakitha.
Um,
Gyakitha.
that's a
It's a Gyakitha.
wolf.
Oh, that's because of their tall ears that they got. Ate. 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 Ate.
Bighorn sheep.
Bighorn sheep. That's on they hit heads like that, but it's showing their big horns that they have. They kind of curl around like that. Okay, this next one. Eat down on. Eat down on.
Buffalo.
That's a buffalo. Was. Was.
Bear.
Hey, this one's tough for people too when they first see it. No, no, Tsigatha. What is that?
Bear.
Yeah.
A black bear.
Close. So this utilizes several different signs. This utilizes a color. Use this for white. Then we motion to the shoulder. That's a white shoulder bear. And down in this area, this is the grizzly bear. Grizzly bears, if you ever look at the pictures of them, they have like a white silvery patch on their shoulder, on their hump. And so we call them Nanatsigata, the white shoulder bear. Okay, we've got a couple more. I know I don't want to go over my time. Chris Scribe is very specific that he told me you have 30 minutes, John. So here we go. Okay. Woos. Woos.
Cat.
Cat. That's because of their nose, how their nose is. This one down here, if ever anyone's been down here to Fort Belknap, we got a lot of these. Go ahi in the summertime. Go ahi.
Mosquito.
Now. Now. Now.
A butterfly.
What's he tossing here? Let's.
Water.
Now. Now. So this is the sign for water, and it's something in the water that goes like this.
Fish.
Fish. Now it's a fish. So that utilizes a couple signs as well. The sign for water and the sign for this motion in the water. Knots. Knots.
Bunny.
Yeah, rabbit. Ebis. Let's make a motion to the back. Ebis. Ebis. What's the tail? Okay. Ebis.
Beaver.
Beaver. It's flat tail. Pats down mud like that when it's busy working.
Review.
Okay. And we'll go over one more. Tawanane Batakya. This is actually two words put together. Tawanane Batakya. This sign. So that's in here.
Nose.
Woos.
Goose.
Woos. Woos.
Goose.
That's in here. Woos. Woos. Woos.
Meow.
Woos.
Goose.
Woos.
Meow. Meow.
Cat. Right? You already said that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I make a motion to its tail, and something happened to its tail. This is the sign for cut. So a cat whose tail's been cut. And so this is the sign we use for a wildcat, or it's also used for a bobcat. And it's saying a cat, its tail, and cut. They have the little short tails. So we didn't go over all of them, but we're wanting to review now. It's important to review and to always continue to see these and hear these as we're learning. So we'll review. Okay. Now, Hani, we'll see if you can keep up. I'm going to do these at kind of a swift pace. Okay. Knots.
Rabbit.
Now.
Fish.
Beno.
Turtle.
Nihant.
Spider.
Go ehi. Go ehi.
Mosquito.
Woos.
Cat.
Cecilia. 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 Ebis. Ebis.
Beaver.
Ut.
Dog.
Tawanane Batakya.
Wildcat or
Yeah.
bobcat.
Yeah. Gakitha. Gakitha.
Wolf.
Bjata. Bjata.
Owl.
Nakatiehi.
An eagle.
Na sick.
Uh,
Na sick.
Antelope.
Antelope. Ate.
Big horn sheep.
He was soft.
Horse.
Big. Big.
Oh,
Big.
beer.
Eat that no.
Buffalo.
He was here. He was here. He was here.
Elk.
Was.
Was or a bear.
No, Seagatha.
Grizzly bear.
And so as you continue on learning, now in wanting her to learn the signs, then I would, and also wanting to learn the language, we could switch it and then start saying the word in your language, in our language, and then they could provide the sign, or I could provide the sign, and they have to say the word in the Ani. That's as you continue to learn and further, because you're wanting them to speak our language, to hear the language, understand it. Now you're also integrating sign language. You wanted them to be able to do the signs. And so I'm gonna try a couple here and see if she can remember and do the signs. So scoot over a little bit. Okay. I want to see if you remember this word. I'm gonna say the word and you do the sign. Okay? Cecilia. You gotta come in the camera so you can see you. Cecilia. Say Cecilia. Listen to the word. Listen. Cecilia.
Snake.
Do the sign for snake. Okay, all right, good. Let's do eat that on. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Do you remember what Iwasoth? Iwasoth, that is? Okay. No? Iwasoth is horse. So what's the sign for horse? Iwasoth. Yeah, that's right. Okay, what about for Nakatiehi? Okay, yeah. Okay, and that's in English, what is that?
Eagle.
Eagle, okay. Bjorta. Bjorta.
Woohoo. Woohoo.
Sign for bird. Okay, that's right. Then a sign for bird also. Yeah, just like that. Yeah, good. All right. Was. Was. Yeah. This is one, we learned today. No, Seagatha. No, Seagatha. Grizzly bear. Yeah. Again. And we'll try one more. Nihot. Nihot. What is that again?
A spider.
Spider. Okay. So you can continue on, with the learning. This list right here was just one, was a bingo card, a game that we played. Now, also, you can continue on with the words, such as words for colors. And so, like you noticed, one sign for color, white. Ball is a sign for red. White, y'all, sign for black. Ganata, y'all, blue. Neha, y'all, yellow, orange, or brown. Iwanufki, y'all, green. And so there's so many different words and things that you could learn and utilize in teaching our children at home. So that's what I wanted to present was on Indigenous Sign Language and how it can be used in teaching our languages, but also just by itself to be able to preserve Indigenous Sign Language. I hope that created spark in you to continue learning, and look forward to seeing you guys in the future. Chris Scribe, it's 30 minutes and 27 seconds. Don't get mad at me. Thank you, Think Indigenous. Thank you, Chris Scribe, and everybody on here. Oh, okay. My assistant came back and she wanted to share something. She said, "Hello, relatives. My name is what the black haired woman. That's her name." Nana. Nakamehi. He says, "I am Ahani and Lakota." She said, "I live at the place where they give out rations." This is the word that we use for the Fort Belknap agency. So, and my daughter Nihani says, my assistant there, she attends the Whiteclay Immersion School, and so really grateful that she was able to be here during this video. And thank you, Whiteclay Immersion School, Dr. Sean Chandler, Sarah Hawley. Thank you for what you do in our community with education and preserving the language. One more thing, I shared this earlier that I would share towards the end in regards to sign language and how it relates to tribal history and how it might vary from tribe to tribe. One of the signs that we use for our neighboring tribe, the tribe that we share Fort Belknap Reservation with, the Assiniboine tribe, the Dakota. The word that we have for them has a story to it and a sign. For many years, I guess it was somewhat of a misunderstanding, a misnomer, was that people said the Gros-Ventre and the Assiniboine were enemy tribes, traditional enemy tribes. And so, as I started learning the language, I expected that if Assiniboine Lakota were an enemy tribe, that the word in our language for them would translate to mean enemy. Well, it doesn't. And it refers back to a very old story. So I want to share this sign here. How we say, refer to the Assiniboine or the Lakota in our language is Nakine. Nakine translated to English means this. And it means to look far away into the distance. This refers back to the story. It refers back to a story when we first encountered the Assiniboine. A very long time ago, to the north of where we are right now, the Fort Belknap Indian Reservation, which is only about 40 miles from the Canadian border, maybe about 15 minutes past the border, so maybe about an hour north of your drive, there's this place called the Frenchman's Valley. At the bottom of that valley is a river. And it's at this place that the Aani, the Gros-Ventre, first encountered the Assiniboine, or the Dakota. As they're going along the prairie, they encountered this group of people. They were being led by this older man. And on the sides of this older man were two younger warriors helping him walk. As he kind of walked up to the little bit of a hill that was there, he went like this. And he was looking at the area where they were at and in relation to where they were going. This is the first time the Aani men from Gros-Ventre encountered the Assiniboine or Lakota people. That was a band of Lakota. And so this happened quite a while ago, and it happened in territory which is right here where we're at. So when Cinnabons and Glowwants try to argue and say, oh, we were here first, no, we were here first, let's just agree that, hey, a long time ago, we were both here, as is the case with a lot of our indigenous tribes. And so I just wanted to share that part as you continue learning sign language, indigenous sign language. You might come across a lot of interesting history and stories like that. And I encourage you and look forward to seeing you guys again soon. All right, I've now done.